Is this what the Prime Minister meant when he tweeted that the economy is improving?
Mr. Speaker, since the general election,
Parliament erupts as Kemi Badenoch clashes with Keir Starmer over broken promises. You're not going to believe what just erupted in Parliament. One moment, it was just another tense exchange across the dispatch box. The next, the entire chamber was in chaos. Voices raised. MPs standing. Some shouting, others stunned into silence. And right at the center of it all, Kemi Badenoch and Keir Starmer. This wasn't a minor disagreement. This was a full-scale political confrontation, the kind that exposes the deep cracks under Westminster's polished surface. Because what Badenoch unleashed wasn't just criticism. It was an accusation that cut deep not just into Starmer's policies, but into his credibility. So, what actually happened? It was Wednesday's Prime Minister's Questions, one of the most watched political slots in the country. But today, all eyes weren't on the Prime Minister. They were on Business and Trade Secretary Kemi Badenoch, who stepped in to answer questions on economic development, infrastructure, and foreign investment. Then it happened. Labour leader Keir Starmer pressed her on the government's failure to deliver on promised green investment zones in the north, accusing ministers of saying one thing to voters and doing the exact opposite behind closed doors. But Badenoch wasn't having it. She turned sharply toward Starmer and fired back. This from a man who's flipped on every major position he's taken: Brexit, tuition fees, even his own pledges to Labour members. If anyone's misleading the British people, it's not this government, it's you. Loud mutters across the benches. The Speaker called for order as MPs began jeering and shouting across the aisle. One MP could be heard saying, "Withdraw that." Another shouted, "She's absolutely right." It was one of the most explosive exchanges we've seen this year, and it wasn't over. This wasn't just political theater. This was a strategic strike. Kemi Badenoch didn't just criticize Starmer, she called him out on something many inside his own party have quietly whispered for months. That his positions shift depending on who he's talking to. Let's not forget Starmer ran for Labour leadership on a bold progressive platform. Nationalisation of key industries. An end to university tuition fees. Higher taxes on the wealthy. Fast forward to today. Much of that has been watered down or outright dropped. Badenoch seized on that, and more importantly, she did it live on the floor of Parliament, in front of the cameras and the country. And Starmer? He didn't interrupt. He didn't push back. He stayed seated. Calm, but visibly tense. That silence again did not go unnoticed. Reactions have been intense and immediate. Political commentators lit up social media within minutes. Sky News analyst Beth Rigby posted, "Badenoch went for the jugular today. Starmer's silence may have been strategic, but it left a vacuum, and others are filling it fast." One ex-user wrote, "Say what you will about Badenoch, but that was fearless. She said what millions are thinking. Starmer promises the world, then quietly walks it back." But not everyone saw it that way. Labour's deputy leader Angela Rayner hit back later in the session, calling Badenoch's comments deflection tactics and saying, "If the Conservatives had even half the consistency they demand from others, the country wouldn't be in this mess." Still, the damage or the impact, depending on your view, was done. The clip of the exchange was trending within the hour. Hashtag Badenoch vs Starmer was the #1 political hashtag on UK Twitter by 3 p.m. The UK is heading toward a general election possibly within the next year. And right now, public trust in both major parties is razor-thin. Badenoch's attack may resonate with voters not because of what she said but how she said it. Direct. Unapologetic. Passionate. In a political climate where many leaders are accused of dodging questions or hiding behind spin, that kind of delivery cuts through. Meanwhile, Starmer's cautious, lawyerly approach, once seen as a strength, is now being portrayed by opponents as weakness, or worse, manipulation. And that's where things get tricky for Labour. Because it's not just the Tories criticizing Starmer, it's members of his own movement. Earlier this month, former Labour supporters on the left, including key figures from the Jeremy Corbyn era, began voicing their doubts again. One activist tweeted, "It's getting harder to explain what Starmer actually stands for. Today's silence won't help." Another said, "If Kemi Badenoch of all people is landing punches this easily, we've got a problem." And remember, these are people who want Labour to win. But the cracks in messaging and identity are starting to show. Keir Starmer is still the frontrunner heading into the next general election. Polls show Labour with a comfortable lead. But as today proved, numbers can't protect you from moments. Because in politics, it only takes one live session, one clip, one powerful soundbite to shift the public mood. And Kemi Badenoch just gave the Tories one of their sharpest tools yet. We all know words matter in politics, but silence? Sometimes, silence says everything. So the question isn't just whether Starmer will respond. It's this: if he can't defend his record in Parliament, how will he defend it on the campaign trail?